I would like to call this travelogue the following title: There's More to Vegas Than Vegas. So in this travelogue, we're going to travel outside Vegas into the surrounding area. We'll start off and end up with some nice, a few nice pictures of the Red Rock country that's down there. And then we'll visit the big Hoover Dam on the Colorado River that's just outside of Vegas. And we'll end up at a historic ranch where they've got a few stories to tell. So come along, you'll enjoy it. We will look at 3 places, and they're listed in yellow, and they're also numbered 1 to 3 in red on the map. Number 1 on the upper right is the Valley of Fire, just off I-15 coming from the north. Number 2, Hoover Dam, is on the Blue Line Colorado River. Third, we'll drive across Vegas to the west side, where we'll visit the historic Spring Mountain Ranch, which is on the old Spanish Trail. The big numbers on the map represent highways. I-15 heads southeast to Los Angeles. Both 95 and 93 go north to Montana and Idaho, and then join Canadian highways through British Columbia and Alberta. 93 continues southeast toward Phoenix, and 95 goes south to Yuma. In another travelogue or so, we'll visit some snowbird communities on the way to Yuma. The Valley of Fire State Park north of Vegas is a worthwhile side trip off the I-15. This picture shows a lot of how we travel. With a small motorhome for mobility, we tend to hang out in the cheap seats, meaning Walmart parking lots, provincial and state parks with no services, and free camping provincial lands in Canada, and BLM, or Bureau of Land Management lands, in the U.S. The colors and eroded features of the sedimented sandstone rocks in the park are impressive. Minerals in the rocks are iron and magnetite, and they turn a rusty red when exposed to oxygen and moisture that is in the atmosphere. This weathering process is called oxidation. Whatever the process, or whatever it's called, it creates a picturesque place for camping, hiking, and even exploring. We left the state park and headed south, eventually spotting the beginning of Lake Meade, which is the backed up water from Hoover Dam. In the next couple of photos, you can see the water drop by the former water level that's on the islands and along the banks. The Colorado River flows from the mountains of Colorado to the Sea of Cortez in Mexico. The Colorado, a shadow of what it once was, due to a natural drying of the earth and human consumption, still is a major water source for 3 giant cities: Phoenix, Tucson, and Las Vegas. Here you can see the one-time water line and just how far below it is at the boat loading ramp. With a little more water as we moved southward closer to the dam, the houseboats started to show up on Lake Meade. The Colorado carves out the Grand Canyon and is the watershed in 7 U.S. states, as well as for the 2 Mexican states of Sonora and Baja California, which are further south from Yuma. 40 million people draw its waters over its 2,300-kilometer run from its Colorado source to its Mexican delta. Hoover Dam, built in the 1930s, has 15 dams on its main channel and hundreds on its tributaries. The dam's reservoir, which is Lake Meade, is the largest in the U.S. when it's full. Originally named Boulder Dam after the nearby city and work camp, its name was changed to Hoover Dam after the U.S. president of the time. This is a new impressive highway development at the dam that leads to Phoenix. The population boomed at when the dam was built, and gambling was legalized in Vegas. Workers at the dam were restricted from going into gambling and the evils of Vegas, and that caused a rise in smuggling and eventually organized crime. We boondocked at this hotel near the dam and watched for a couple of nights while this helicopter gave tourists rides over the area. This is the abandoned railroad line that once hauled supplies during the construction of the dam. But now the rail line had a new purpose. The rails were pulled up and it made a great hiking and biking trail, and including complete with several tunnels. This was the end of the rail line above the dam, and this was another bike trail in the area. It was an adjoining hike and bike asphalt trail around Lake Meade above the dam. After seeing the Valley of Fire north of Vegas and Hoover Dam to the east, we drove across Vegas to the west side to Spring Mountain Ranch. The mountains on the west side of Vegas contained water. Springs and artesian wells had long been used by prehistoric people as well as the ancestors of the Paiute Indians. Since the 16th century, the Spanish knew of the water source in this dry country and ran their old Spanish trail, which was a 1,100-kilometer trade route through this way, which was between their capital in Santa Fe, New Mexico, and their colonies in California. 300 years later, the Mormons from Salt Lake City to the north in Utah connected to the old Spanish Trail near Vegas and used this route to connect with and convert people in California. We toured the yard and later on we went into the ranch house where the state park staff gave us a very interesting tour of the interior of the building. It was left a lot like it had been used decades before. As you can see by this chart, the ranch had several owners since the mid-1800s, and many of them had interesting stories to tell. This one-time owner, this tall fellow with a beard, he ran into financial trouble in later years and was about to lose the ranch. The boy sitting in the left lower part of the photo had grown up and become a wealthy businessman in Vegas. He bought the ranch so the old fella could live out his remaining years on his ranch. Several well-known Holly actors like these guys bought and kept the ranch going. This wealthy woman, Vera Krupp by name, bought the ranch and lived on it without her husband, who was a German industrialist who had been banned from the U.S. based on accused war crimes for supporting Hitler in World War II. She became a dedicated and knowledgeable rancher, working daily with her ranch hands, and eventually developed a unique, registered, white-faced Brahma and Hereford U.S.-based breed of hybrid cattle. She acquired international fame when her 33-carat diamond ring was stolen at the ranch. It was later recovered. Now, the ring got even more public attention when it sold for big money to the famous Hollywood pair of Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton. The ring eventually sold to a South Korean buyer in the year 2011 for only $8.8 million. The rich know no boundaries. Howard Hughes, the one-time famous Mr. Everybody, bought the ranch but got involved in Vegas and spent no time out there. He was a reclusive person and got into conflict with a Vegas hotel manager who tried to throw him out of the hotel. Hughes got mad, contacted the owners, and bought the hotel next morning. He went on a buying spree of hotels and casinos that counteracted the rising Vegas crime influences. His efforts changed the image of Vegas from a Wild West circus into a refined cosmopolitan city. He bought the ranch for his wife, the famous actress Jean Peters, but she wouldn't live out there alone without him. Near the ranch is a tourist attraction called Red Rock Canyon. We were there, it was crowded, and we couldn't even find a place to park along the loop road. It was a scenic place, and here you can see a hiking trail down below. And in this photo that I took, if you look close, you can make out people walking along the trail. It was a very popular hiking trail area. Every person and every place has a story to tell, whether it's a big place like Vegas itself, or a small ranch, or a small community. So I hope you enjoyed the video. This is I Go Travel with Don Barnett. Hit the subscribe button and thumbs up or down and whatnot, and we'll be back with some more travelogues.